Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania, diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more. This podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Livfiit Listens podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, I feel like the lighting is really weird right now because I'm filming at a weird time. It's like 5:30 p.m., so it's like, I don't know. I'm not getting as much sunlight in my room, so I have the overhead lights on, but the show must go on. I'm not going to lie. That was the reason why I was debating like not posting on YouTube anymore, the episodes on YouTube, just because it's like another step of like filming, getting somewhat ready, making sure lighting is good, whatever. It's just like a little bit step more effort. But you guys let me know that there are some of you who really do enjoy watching on YouTube. So I'm listening to you, I'm keeping it up, and we're going to keep rocking with it. But hello again. I hope everyone's doing well. We're on a little good streak here with the podcast. Today's episode is kind of going to be more of like a bite-sized chunk of an episode. Oh my gosh, I just realized I forgot to pull up the outline for this episode. But kind of more so like a bite-sized episode here today. Just kind of a little dose of a reminder that I feel like we all need from time to time. But for my gratitude for this episode, I am actually going back home to New York tomorrow from when I'm recording this, and I'm so dang excited. I don't feel like I've ever been this excited since I moved away, to be honest with you. I think just, again, the older I get, the more I like just appreciate it and the more I miss it, just because I'm getting kind of farther and farther away from childhood, so I'm able to reminisce on it more. And I think also it's like good timing hand in hand with a lot of my inner child healing stuff that I've really been doing again, like diving into another layer of that. So I feel like it's going to be healing for me in another way to be able to be there again. We still have my childhood home back there in New York and everything, and just like being in the town that I grew up in. I just am really so excited. Like for weeks I've been like, oh my God, really only like the past couple of weeks, but I just have been like, I'm so excited. So if you didn't know, I grew up in New York and I moved to Utah about like 5 or so years ago. So super excited about that. And upstate New York in the summer is just absolutely gorgeous, and it was like my favorite thing of growing up was summers in central New York. So literally can't wait. That's what I'm grateful for, to be able to go back there and to still have like our family home and just being able to have that little sacred bubble. So today's episode, I feel like I need to kind of do a little bit of a disclaimer / trigger warning, but at the same time, I'm hoping by the end of this episode, you're gonna realize yourself. I'm hoping why you shouldn't feel triggered by this, or why it shouldn't be a taboo topic. But I just want to talk about taking accountability and having awareness for things like in your shortcomings, in your blind spots, and how that's actually freedom rather than something to be seen as punishment or something to be embarrassed about or something to feel shameful about. I guess this is something that I've been really kind of a lesson and a concept that's been so loud to me recently in my own personal life. And I feel like especially as the older we get, at least in my opinion, like if I'm doing something that I'm not realizing is holding me back in life, is hurting other people that I'm not realizing, is bypassing or, dodging a lesson that I actually need to learn, if I'm doing something that's not in my highest alignment with my best self, if I'm acting out of line, if I'm acting out of character, if I'm doing something that's like hypocritical with something else that I preach in my life or whatever it is, I would want a loved one of mine to tell me that, so that I have actually awareness and there can be brought light to a blind spot that I'm having, so that then I can actually improve and therefore improve myself as a person, improve my life, and live more in alignment with the person that I've always wanted to be. Like, I just feel like there's so much shame around these concepts. Like, people are so, like, there's so many people who cannot freaking get out an apology. There's so many people who cannot admit they're wrong. There's so many people who can literally not take constructive criticism at all. They get completely defensive. They think that it means something they think that it means something about them, that they're a bad person, that it means something about their identity if someone's pointing out something that they did wrong or that they fell short on. And everyone just reacts with so much like defensiveness. And I think it comes from really what I'm saying. People take things so personally. They think it means something bad about them. They think that it means someone is giving them like a character attack or a character assassination, when really it doesn't need to be that deep. And it honestly never was that deep. And it just was like a realization because, like, even just to be vulnerable, like, I try to protect my own family and personal life, but like, I guess I will keep them anonymous, but like, there's someone in my life who I don't have the best relationship with them. And kind of recently, they gave me a little bit of an earful of something that how I was acting like wasn't in my best. I don't even know how to describe it. I was kind of acting out of line. Let's just put it that way. And this person who I don't really get along well with, they're not, they irk me a little bit. They're not my buddy. And they really dish it out to me of how a way that I was acting was out of line. And that's like the last person that I would want to receive feedback from or criticism from. But at the same time, I'm like hearing them and I'm like, honestly, they're right. Like, honestly, this is super valid. Honestly, yes, my feelings are valid. I'm upset. That's why I'm acting this way. But also at the same time, in retrospect and logically speaking, I still am acting out of line. Like, yes, my feelings are valid, but this doesn't mean I need to act this way. And I had to sit down, humble myself, and accept this person's words. And again, not in a way where they were just being mean to be mean. Like, it was simply just calling out some behavior that I was doing. And I honestly, genuinely in the moment was like, I just stopped talking. So I was like, you know what? Like, this is super valid and so fair. And I just think everyone can kind of use a humbling a little bit. And like, that's like an extreme example, like of someone where you're already kind of don't get along well with. It makes it even harder. Like, that's a very extreme case. But even just day to day, whether it's your boyfriend or girlfriend, your partner, your sister, your friend, if someone, your coworker, your boss, if someone's coming to you and saying, hey, I think maybe, you're acting out of line here, or I think you had a shortcoming here or here, or I think when you react this way, I don't think that's fair to this person, or I think that you are not realizing how your words are impacting someone else. Like, this is how life works. Like, these are just constructive feedback. That this is constructive feedback for us to take and therefore improve as human beings. It's not something that we need to get defensive about. It's not something that we need to take completely personally, that we need to deem it as an attack on ourselves. Like, I just think it's a good reminder to all of us to remain humble, remain receptive, remain adaptable and flexible. And again, remain self-aware enough to know, hey, I'm not perfect, because no one's going to be perfect, right? So there's always going to be things that we can improve on. There's always going to be things that we don't realize that we're not acting in alignment in the way that we know that we can be acting and should be acting. And I think instead of just constantly arguing back or shutting everyone down or getting super defensive in your reaction when someone's trying to tell you something that you could be doing better, like, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Is like kind of what I want to say in this episode. Like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. No one's perfect, especially not 100% of the time. You're not supposed to be perfect 100% of the time. The whole point is to be doing our best. And if we're just constantly never accepting feedback and pushing away any sort of constructive criticism, we're never even going to allow ourselves to be our best, because we're simply not letting it happen. We're pushing all this feedback away to help us improve. And I think it's one thing to think that you are all healed and you have your ducks in a row and you're all this and that when you don't have as many triggers in your life. But when you are integrating into the world, in your job, with coworkers, if you're getting into a new relationship, if you're trying to rehab a familial relationship, like when you're in these environments that are kind of bound to have triggering experiences, that doesn't always mean, oh, I just need to push everyone away, protect my peace, and leave and separate and go about my business and never talk to these people again. No, triggers are actually good. Of course, within reason. I'm not sitting here promoting staying in abusive relationships or situations, but I'm just saying, I think especially in our generation and in this whole realm of social media too, I'm kind of going on another tangent here now, but there's so much about like protecting your peace and just remove yourself from a situation and set your boundaries. And of course, there's truth in that. And this is where everything is subjective. Use your discernment. Those things still hold their place. But I do think that there's a lot of instances where we're overdoing it and simply just closing ourselves off to collaboration, collaborative efforts, growing, evolving, learning how to integrate with other people and different environments. And I think subconsciously, I don't know if subconsciously is the right word, but like without us really realizing it, we're just perpetuating this kind of loneliness and isolation epidemic because we basically are choosing the easier route up front, but it's creating more hard later. For example, what I mean by this is saying is people who are just being like, okay, fine, well, if you think this about me, this and that, then I'm not going to talk to you, and this and that. I'm going to remove myself from the situation because I'm so triggered and defensive, whatever it is. You're just continuing to isolate yourself, which that's the easier thing to do up front, is to not have that difficult conversation. It's easier to not have to point the thumb back at yourself. It's easier not to have the self-awareness to reflect. It's easier to not admit that you're wrong. It's easier to not try to collaborate with this person and find a happy medium. So it's easier for you to separate. But then on the back end, it's harder because now you don't have that community. You don't have someone to lean on. You don't have that sense of, honestly, fulfillment and feeling proud in yourself for getting through a hard time and a hard situation. And that leads you feeling more unfulfilled on the back end, leaving you with a harder circumstance in your own company, really, on the back end of things, as opposed to choosing the quote unquote hard route up front, which is taking accountability, having self-awareness, taking responsibility, swallowing your pride, being able to apologize, being able to admit when you're wrong, having that hard conversation up front, but then you're in an easier circumstance on the backside of things because you have done something hard, you worked through a hard situation, you have that sense of accomplishment and fulfillment, you have a deeper connection now with whoever you were going through that difficult time with, you have a better relationship, and now you're going to have an easier circumstance on the back end. So that's kind of a side tangent of it, but I just really do feel like it's kind of fascinating when you think about it. It really improves our life really in every aspect when we can admit when we're wrong, take accountability, have that self-awareness, know when to say, hey, you know what, that was my bad, or hey, I know I didn't really respond in the best way there, or oh my gosh, thank you, I didn't realize how I was being hypocritical here, or oh my gosh, I appreciate you pointing this out to me where I'm actually not being my best and I'm bypassing things and I'm making excuses that I wasn't even fully consciously aware of how much it was holding me back. Like, this kind of stuff helps in so many different areas of our life, not only with progressing towards our goals, but also just becoming better human beings and also cultivating better relationships and better tools to navigate and develop deeper connections because we're better equipped to do so. And we are able to stay strong and kind of learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortability of having hard conversations in other relationships to develop deeper with those people. And I guess my last point that I want to bring home is just like, I think that a lot of you guys listening to this podcast who are avid listeners, you have big goals, you have big desires, you have big dreams, whether that's just learning how to live, striving to live life in your best alignment with your highest self, or if it's because you want to tangibly go achieve a ton of things in our material realm, whatever it is. I think a lot of us have big goals. We live intentionally who listen to this podcast. And I don't know about you guys, but I'd imagine, because at least for me, if I'm doing anything that's holding myself back in any which way, I would want someone to tell me. Even if it's not going to feel great in the moment. I can't remember the quote now, but I heard someone on TikTok say it. And I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's pretty big on TikTok. Higher Up Wellness. He said, the truth is always, I can't even remember it. Something about how like the truth is always going to set you free. That's what it is. The truth will always set you free, but at first it's probably going to piss you off. I think that's what the quote is, and it totally applies here. Maybe that's what I should name this episode, but oh my gosh, it's so good. The truth is what will set you free, but it will probably piss you off first. Meaning a lot of the times, like the things that we don't want to hear are the very things that we need to hear because they are our blocks that are preventing us from evolving, going forward in life, becoming more expanding, right? And I find it funny because I don't really know why it is the way it is, but it is. Like usually our blind spots are the ones that are I think it's probably because it's because the reason we don't even know that these blocks are here because they are so integrated within us that we don't even notice them because they're so normal in our environment that it's like nothing new to even have to notice. So it runs so deep within us that we feel blindsided, I guess, maybe when they're brought up to us and that they kind of cut deeper into our identity maybe. But regardless of the why, if I'm doing anything that's holding me back, I would want to know. Even if it's going to hurt my feelings to begin with, even if it may hurt to initially hear it, maybe it might sting a little bit, maybe it might be like, dang, like, is that really the truth? Like, whatever it is, I would still want to hear it, because that it always means it's setting you free. It's giving you the awareness so that then you can say, oh my gosh, thank you. Wasn't even aware this was going on. Now I can go find a solution for it and move forward. Because how are we ever supposed to fix anything if we're not even aware that it exists in the first place? You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's, for example, of saying, hey, I know that I really want to have X amount of progress in the gym, and I have this really big gym physique goal or whatever it is, or just performance goal in the gym. And every time, my friend or my partner's asking me, like, how's the gym going, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm really wanting to go. I'm motivated. I got a new workout set. I've been meal prepping, but like with going to the gym, I just can't, because, I haven't really been able to be consistent because work's been crazy. And just by the time I come home, I got to do this and I got to do the laundry, and then I just can't get to it. So I don't have the time, so I'm only going twice a week when I really want to be going 5. And, maybe you keep having that, you keep saying that over and over again. And next thing you know, it's been a month. And maybe your partner's like, hey, to be honest with you, I kind of think that you are using this as an excuse. Like, I think maybe if you rearrange some things, you definitely can make sure that you can get to the gym, even if it's for 45 minutes. Like, maybe you just need to try a little bit harder to make the time for the gym, rather than constantly just thinking there's a reason why you can't go, right? That would be such a triggering conversation for so many people, but it's the truth. You know what I mean? Like, it could very well be the truth of your situation that you need to hear. Like, hey, you know what? I think actually, yeah, subconsciously, I am making excuses of why I can't go to the gym, because it's easier. It's the easier route, and it requires less effort than me making sure I get my butt to the gym 5 days a week, even after work when I'm tired and I don't want to go. But I had these big goals for me, so that's what I need to do to achieve that goal. I would want someone to tell me that. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's people have just a big aspirational goals for their career, but their actions aren't lining up because they have XY excuse or whatever it is. Like, I would want to hear that. I would want to hear that from someone, of saying, hey, I think this is a blind spot that you may have, that you think they're like invisible chains that are holding you back from doing what you want to do, when they really aren't there, and you can try a little bit harder or make a different effort to make sure that it happens. Or maybe the hard conversation is, hey, I know this is your goal, but you're not taking any aligned action on it. You're not actually working towards it consistently. Or maybe someone's downfall is they don't have they're taking the action, but it's not consistent enough, so they're not doing it enough to make any progress. Like, these are all very common things that happen in life that are blind spots that people don't even realize. And it just sucks that so many people are even scared to have this conversation among friends, relationships, coworkers, family, because they don't want it to cause a rift in the relationship. They don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. But all that's doing is enabling everyone's freaking behavior, and it's keeping everyone stuck. It's preventing everyone from growing. And of course, there's a time and place and a way to deliver this information and a way to deliver this intervention. And of course, it takes effort. But at the same time, I think if all of us listening, having this good reminder, helps, if all of us kind of puts our guard down a little bit and is more receptive and open, I think that will be one good step into having more productive and constructive conversations in this realm that will help us and our loved ones be pushed to grow. Because I think that's a big part of what life is about. It's about growth. It's about evolution. At least that's what I really value in life. I think that's a big reason why I'm here on this planet, is to really push and grow and to be the best person that I can be, at least always trying to do that. And if that is a true goal, that I want to grow and expand as much as I can, I need to be open and receptive to constructive criticism, and other people as well need to be open to the same. So that's kind of my little reminder to you, okay? The truth will set you free, but it will probably piss you off first, okay? Taking accountability and having awareness is freedom. It's not punishment. It's not something to be shameful of. It's not something you need to be embarrassed by. It's not something you need to get defensive about. It's not something that you need to turn around and throw in someone else's face. Like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It's okay to take accountability. It's okay to admit if you had a shortcoming, if you have a fault, if you had a blind spot, if you were acting out of line, if you were acting hypocritically, whatever it is, like it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's so much strength in being able to apologize. There's so much strength in being able to take accountability. There's so much strength in being able to admit that you are wrong. And again, when you do that, you're actually allowing yourself to grow, you're setting yourself free, and it's going to illuminate the path forward of how to become a better individual. Because I don't know about you, I don't want constant blind spots that I'm not even aware of to continuously be holding me back and then wondering why I'm not where I want to be. I would want a loved one. If they really loved me, I would want a loved one should want you to achieve your goals. Let's put it this way. They should want you to always achieve your goals, and they should do whatever they can to help you achieve those goals. And sometimes that takes having a really hard, vulnerable, open, potentially triggering conversation to really expose some of people's limiting beliefs, blind spots, barriers, obstacles that they don't even realize are there, so that then they can have the awareness and autonomy to say, okay, how can I deal with this? Is this something I even want to deal with now that I know it's there? I at least now have the choice to deal with it if I want to. And if I really am someone who wants to move forward in life, now I have the awareness of what needs to change. I'll generate the tools to change it so that then I can move forward. That's it for this episode, you guys. I think this is a good one. And I know that this takes a lot of emotional maturity, to be honest with you. Like, unfortunately, I don't think everyone's going to be ready for this episode, or people in your life may not be fully ready to have this form of relationship dynamic. But I'm just hoping that this will land for those it needs to land for. And I think it's a good, humble reminder. And I hope me even sharing my own story, a little bit of kind of a conversation I had somewhat recently. It's just, this has been such a prominent lesson in my life lately. Like, from someone else to me, that I had to eat this lesson, from me to relationships in my life, from me to like siblings and family members. Like, it's just, I think the older I get, just because the more we're going through life, the more I'm realizing like this needs to be laid out as kind of this needs to be declared as a condition in our adult relationships, so that we can keep moving forward in a healthy way in life, rather than kind of toxic tendencies that are never addressed because no one wants to be confrontational or like start an issue. I don't want those things to compound in adulthood and have us be 40 with, 15 years of pent up situations that never got resolved because no one was brave enough to tell so-and-so about how they act out of line in these certain situations, if that makes sense. Like, I know I'm keeping this super vague, but because I don't ever want to like call people out in my personal life, and it's more so applying to like general situations anyways. So anyways, I'm going to stop yapping. I hope this landed and I hope this makes sense. I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, where I'm going with all of this. The affirmation that I have for today's episode, this has nothing to do with it really. This has just been an affirmation that I've really been liking. It says, I'm in alignment with my goals, making my dream life my inevitable reality. I am in alignment with my goals, making my dream life my inevitable reality. Because here's the thing, manifestation, all the things, it's not about just simply wishing or wanting. It starts with you coming into alignment with your dream life, with your goals, collapsing those timelines. And once you're in alignment, that is what makes your goals and dream life inevitable for you to experience. Also, I noticed that we are kind of climbing up on the reviews and all of that for the podcast. So if you have a second and you are liking this podcast, it's been helping you, improving your life. And if you have a second, it's completely free and you're looking for a way to support the podcast, if you go leave either a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening, it helps so much support this podcast and just like help it grow. And it's been super cool, like seeing the reviews grow. I think we're almost to 100 reviews on Apple Podcasts, which is super exciting. And then also, I am still hosting my Thailand retreat that's happening this November from the 9th to the 15th. I will have the trip page linked down below in the show notes. You still are able to sign up. This is the last month. I believe you have until September 19th to sign up if anyone last minute is really feeling a call. If you do book, you will have to pay in full, I believe. So that is something to keep in mind. You will have to pay your ticket in full. unless you are traveling from the US and you apply through a firm for a payment plan. Then you can choose between 6, 12, or 18 months, I believe, to pay it off. But we're traveling to northern Thailand. We are doing a bunch of different actual like traveling excursions. We're going to see elephants, we're going whitewater rafting, going to see waterfalls, all the things. And then I'm also hosting different workshops for like a group workout, group meditations, group journaling, and like discussion group circles, really blending mindfulness and travel and then connection with new like-minded women. It's completely an all-women's retreat. So I'll have that information linked down in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in my next epi. Peace out.